DJ.
Here, lizard. It's the almighty King Cooper, chameleon at a color-changing lizard, the mixtape messiah. Please stand for the ghetto national anthem. Let's go. Man, forget what them boys is talking about. I'm true, man. Your riding swings, your gripping grain. I do, man. Your candy red, your candy blue, your popping trunk, your candy screw. Don't know about you, but I'm
Another week, another Great American Cast episode. We welcome you all in to episode 4 of our humble pro wrestling podcast. I am Tanner Acebo. I'm joined by Mr. Gary Lannister. Gary, welcome back for another fun week.
Yes, it's great to be back here.
We also have a couple of guests. We have a slew of talent here on the dais. We are welcoming back Mitchell Abraham, who is sitting in.
Baba Booey!
Great.
Great.
And we have the Brothers of Destruction. We have Mr. Tony Matz, and we have Mr. Ethan Matz. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So, we'll get a little background info on you guys, I guess. You're both longtime wrestling fans, yeah?
Back in the 90s, WCW, Monday Night Wars, but big WWE fan, though.
Yeah. All the way through, and you had WWE, WWF.
Same as well,
yeah.
WWE. I wasn't much into WCW. Thought it kind of sucked.
All right, well, that's an unfortunate opinion. We'll cut that part out. I guess, who were some of your favorites growing up watching wrestling? Obviously, you're both WWF guys. Who are some of your favorites there?
I was a heel fan. I always liked the heel. Corporate Rock, Kurt Angle. There's usually rooted for the heels. Booker T. Always a big Booker T fan.
Mm-hmm.
My main man was The Undertaker. That guy was awesome. He still is.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about Taker and his big Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania coming up a little bit later. Who are some of your top guys now? I mean, Ethan, you said you're a huge Undertaker fan, but who are some of your favorites in the current product?
My main guy right now is Cesaro. He's hurt right now, but the guy's fun to watch.
Gary and myself, huge Cesaro fans as well, yeah.
I like Rollins. Ambrose is alright. That's kind of it.
Just Dean Ambrose, big lunatic.
Yeah.
Roadblocks. I got off my seat when that fake pin happened. But
they've done it to us so many times too.
Yep.
So many times. It was too good to be true. So,
I'd never seen a match actually end that way.
With the
Dusty finish?
The leg being just
underneath the rope.
Never.
And then they were nice enough on Monday to show us with that fancy red line
Yeah.
where the rope extends down to.
You know, for a company that doesn't like to compare itself to the NFL, they steal an awful lot of their little tricks, so.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, out of Roadblock, Dean Ambrose comes up short against Triple H. Probably the best effort you could hope for in a losing effort from Ambrose. He gets the pin on Triple H, even though his leg was underneath the ropes, but he can now say that he pinned Triple H clean. He does himself in, per usual, by trying to elbow drop Triple H to the table. Triple H moves, and he beats the 10 count and walks right into a pedigree. But going into Raw, I mean, Dean versus Triple H was kind of a side story because the real story they're telling with Dean is him and Brock Lesnar. We had the great Paul Heyman promo. Dean cut a great promo first. Paul Heyman comes out and kind of answers. And then Heyman leaves and says, "Hey, Brock, let's go." They go to leave. Brock comes down to the ring. Dean pulls out a crowbar. Now, there are some mixed emotions on this in kind of the internet wrestling community. A lot of people not fans of him pulling out the crowbar. Personally, I love it. They're having a no-holds barred match.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can jump in on that.
Yeah.
So, I think it actually dovetails pretty nicely with the story they were telling with Dean and Triple H. Because, once again, we have Dean Ambrose taking a high-profile loss. Mm-hmm. This is a lot of the stuff CM Punk was complaining about before he left the company, is you have to take all these losses for part-timers and for these other people that you're trying to build up years after the fact. So once again, Dean Ambrose has taken this, again, a high-profile loss. So coming out on Raw on Monday and revealing the crowbar and using that in his fight with Brock Lesnar, I think is the evolution of the story. Because at first it was, oh, he's so tenacious, he's never going to stay down. You can keep beating the crap out of Dean Ambrose, but he's going to keep coming. He's a cockroach, etc., etc. But people who are getting mad that that's been glossed over, they don't realize that it's the next logical step. It's a guy who's no longer playing not to lose, he's playing to win. And like you said, with a street fight, those kind of things are going to come into play. You think Lesnar's not going to use the steps or a chair or anything else? Like, Dean's just playing by the rules that were given to him, and he's playing to win.
You guys are both Ambrose fans. What do you think about, he pulls up the crowbar? I thought it was right in line. What do you guys think?
Kind of reminded me of Sting pointing the bat. I mean, I don't, you know. And then the McFoley, having McFoley meet him.
Yeah,
I thought that
McFoley
made
shows
sense.
up later, gives him the gift, the Christmas gift. If you noticed, it was wrapped in red and green. McFoley always putting Santa Claus over. He gives him the barbed wire bat and, kind of gives Dean a nice rub there. I think the barbed wire bat's gonna. I mean, it's got to come into play in the match, right? It's got to.
It has to, you'd think, or else there's no reason to really give him it.
Yeah.
But as we've seen in the past, WWE has gone to more of a PG stance, so I don't know how they use that bat. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they're gonna do it.
Yeah, if that bat gets used, there has to be color, presumably, right?
With Ambrose and Lesnar's match being a street fight, does that mean the match can now exit the ring and go back?
Oh yeah, it can go anywhere. Oh. I do think he has to get pinned in the ring, though.
I think so.
So Ethan, you and I discussed that Monday night. You can go fight everywhere, and you got to drag him back to the ring to pin him.
But also WWE likes to change their rules depending on the situation, depending on the match. So it wouldn't surprise me if they are allowed to pin him outside the ring.
And that'd be something they do. They would just drop it in on commentary halfway through the match. And also, he can pin him outside the ring.
That's a great impetus to drag him up to the top of the Jerrytron and fight up there.
Yeah, well, that's the
Throw
rumor
each other
was
off
that
of it.
Shane was going to do something with the Jerrytron there. Speaking of Shane, once again, Shane was on our TV screen and flubbed his promo a little bit. He very self-deprecating. He made some jokes about himself afterwards. But this Shane Undertaker feud for me personally, and Gary and I were talking about it earlier. We're sitting there. Shane McMahon is now overexposed at this point. We've seen him on TV, I think, too much, and we saw him get physical with the Undertaker with his little short arm punches. And then Taker just chokeslammed him. I don't know why. We still don't know really why Taker's fighting in this match. We don't know Taker's backstory, but we do know that Taker's going to beat the crap out of Shane, and that Vince rolled out of the ring and took a pretty hard bump himself, and able to get away from Undertaker.
So I have a story.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know it's the one they're trying to tell, but it's the one I've kind of sussed out from all of this. It's not a very good story. So, obviously, you have Vince making that match to protect his control over his company in Raw. He's kind of stacking the deck against his own son, and Taker, being an employee, would take that match, obviously. I mean, all the time, there's precedent for it, because we have people coming out going, oh, you've got a match tonight with Cesaro. So it's kind of the same thing. Vince can book that match, and you ostensibly, Taker would have to participate. So, Taker coming out to confront Vince on the next Raw and choking him out and saying you've essentially handed your own son a death sentence furthers that, so that the next time Vince and Taker and Shane are in the same ring, you're going to have Shane calling Taker out for being a sycophant to Vince. He called him his little bitch. They love doing that. They think that's the edgiest thing you can say. And that, to me, is the story now, is Taker is a company man. He's never going to give any less than his best. So he says to Vince, if you know that's how I am, why are you putting me in a match with your own flesh and blood? You're a scumbag. And then, of course, Shane comes in and doesn't understand any of that. And he's creating a beef where there really was none to begin with. So that's when he calls Undertaker a bitch. And now Undertaker's like, okay, you've offended my honor. I'm being assigned to this match anyway. I'm just going to kill both of you. He's caught in this war between the McMahons. That's what I'm getting, because they're not giving us anything.
Yeah, Undertaker, he was ready to destroy Vince in that ring as well, even though he's kind of Vince's hard gun in this situation. Don't know what to make of that.
There's a small part of me inside. There's hopes somehow Stone Cold Steve Austin's involved in this to screw Vince McMahon over one last time.
Yes, Tony.
Yeah,
I've been saying the same thing myself. Yeah, one last screw you to Vince.
It's in Texas.
He comes out, hits a stunner on Undertaker, boom, drags Shane's lifeless body on top of Undertaker for the pin.
It makes so much sense to do that too, because that match where Austin, if you intervene in this match whatsoever, that you're now the ref of, you're fired, and then it just stuns both Kane and the Undertaker.
Yep, in a classic moment, gives
Yep.
them both the bird. So yeah, Stone Cold doesn't know what he's doing yet. Shawn Michaels apparently is going to be involved at WrestleMania. We don't know what he's doing yet, and The Rock, who is plastered all over their promotional stuff for WrestleMania, we still don't know what he's doing.
We know he's going to be in Reigns' corner.
But do you think he gets involved in that match?
I think there'll be some outside stuff with HBK maybe, or somebody, and The Rock will come down and even the odds, and Reigns will probably end up winning clean.
So we have, and again, because HBK did interfere last year on Triple H's behalf against Sting in their Mania match.
And that whole thing is so weird too, because every time they bring HBK back, he gets a babyface pop, and then they
he does
keep that
foolish
he's
things.
aligned with Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a story to be told there that they just don't bother telling because they think we're dumb.
Yeah, they think their fans are dumb.
Yeah.
They demand that you watch 5 hours of programming a week and then refuse to act as if you've watched 5 hours of programming the last week. You just totally ignore it. Also, a strange promo that involved Dolph Ziggler coming out in a suit. There's a rumor going around that somebody at WWE had given notice. We still don't have any name to go to that rumor. But this certainly seemed like a spot for a guy that's leaving the company. He comes out, he faces Triple H. Triple H's first match on Raw in 3 years. And, I mean, Triple H beats him clean, but they have a hell of a back and forth there at the end. A couple false finishes. Ziggler almost hits the zigzag. But where does Ziggler go from here? Because had he won the match, he could have inserted himself into any WrestleMania match. And now they have no direction from going into WrestleMania. Do you think he's gone?
I don't, because they didn't mention anything about the loss after, other than, Triple H beat Ziggler. There was no mention of...
Yeah, they didn't say, like, well, he's got nothing left to live for or whatever, nothing left to work for. What do you think, Tony?
I don't know. It didn't make any sort of sense. It does seem like it could have been a send-off for him, saying, no matter how hard you back me in a corner, I'll never give up. And maybe they sent him out there with open mic, and that's what came of it.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, at first it looked like Ziggler was going to come out and maybe even align with the Authority because he was wearing the suit. And then, he said he'd never align with them ever. So that put that thought quickly to bed there. It's like Mitch over there had a thought. We're talking about Dolph Ziggler and a little trailer came out. This week? The trailer came out?
Yeah, last night was the first time I saw it.
For WWE's new original movie Countdown. Dolph Ziggler is a cop in it, and his police chief is Kane. And it's eerily similar to the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Sudden Death, as Gary put it earlier. It's a kid with a bomb?
It's
strapped
literally
to him?
described as a madman straps explosives to a young child, and a cop who just lost his own son, played by Dolph Ziggler, needs to overcome his demons and save this stadium full of people at a WWE event from an exploding kid.
So it's inside a WWE house show where this movie is taking place. But Dolph Ziggler is not Dolph Ziggler, and Kane is not Kane. They are policemen.
And just like Ambrose being told he shouldn't be on the Force anymore, and why are you still here? Right in the trailer, they say...
Yeah, Kane's like, I don't even know why you're still a cop.
Once again, it's turned right off the same way.
The whole thing's a metaphor for Vince McMahon and everyone telling him he's getting old. You shouldn't be doing this anymore. And he's like, I'll fucking show you.
I don't know how the movie will be, but I'd love to see Ziggler Cell getting shot.
The best thing they could do is probably pay Jean-Claude Van Damme for 3 seconds a time.
It's coming direct to Blu-ray, DVD, and digital HD, and it's coming out April 5th.
Wow.
It's coming out pretty soon.
Wow.
And you can bet your ass that we're going to be watching it and reviewing it on this show, as terrible as it may be.
As terrible as it
will be. Yeah, just the trailer alone, really rough. Not really cut together very well. Using a lot of the same footage from the same match at this house show, just different moments of it involving it was the New Day, the Ascension, and the Lucha Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all from the same camera angle too. So really this, but you get Rusev holding a gun on Dolph Ziggler.
Show me your badge!
Demanding to see his badge.
Which
It happened.
I got
In
it.
his-
I got it. Super kick.
Yep, super kicks him. So, yeah. Dolph Ziggler is in a movie, and Kane is the police chief. Speaking of the New Day, we were kind of talking about them a little bit there as they're featured in this trailer. They got the crap beat out of them by a very angry League of Nations, and it seems like they are turning the New Day more toward babyface, as they're going to be feuding with the League of Nations and facing the League of Nations for the tag belts at WrestleMania. Over time, they've phased out the mean things they used to say about cities' sports teams and calling out the fans. What do you guys take on New Day? Do you guys like New Day?
I've been a fan of New Day, yeah.
Yeah?
I think they're good. I like them more as heels, though. I thought they cut better heel promos than they do as faces.
Well, and you had Xavier Woods holding the tights for the win. And yet they're supposed to be turning into baby faces, but he cheats to win. What do you think, Tony? You like New Day?
In the ring, they're good. They put on good matches. I'm not a fan of the promos and that trombone and the Bootio cereal. I just can't get into that.
You gotta eat your booty,
Yeah.
man.
It's got
They
your
put on good matches though.
daily serving of booty.
Yeah.
They make sure you ain't booty.
Yeah.
So they're...
I enjoyed the beatdown they got.
And I think every member of the League of Nations hit a finisher on him. We saw our first bullhammer in what seemed like months because Barrett's just been losing, eating
Blew
pins.
the dust out of his elbow pad.
Yeah.
I believe I was sleeping.
Yes, you were sleeping, yeah.
As I said.
And that was right at the start of the show. Which went to bed at 8. He woke back up due to some screams of anguish from myself later on in the show. And then, obviously, out of the Triple H Ziggler match, Triple H beats him clean. Roman's music hits. Everybody's looking up the stairs for him to come down his usual spot. And he doesn't do that. He comes down the ramp. And there are, some loud boos. There were cheers, but there were boos. So obviously not the reception that I'm sure the WWE brass and Vince McMahon was hoping for. But, Roman Reigns comes out and they do the TLC thing again. He beats the shit out of Triple H. They go backstage. Ref gets nailed with a falling box. Triple H gets busted open. Another WWE official awkwardly falls over a table after Roman throws the trash can. What do you guys think? Do you think that Roman Reigns, that they can still create him a top babyface, or do you think that the crowd's really just not going to turn around on this guy?
I think they tried. I don't know what else they could do to get him over as a face. I think he'd be a good heel. He's already got. He's got the heat, or just.
Mm-hmm. He's got the look too.
Yeah, he's
all black hair.
I just wonder why doesn't take that shield, that body armor off.
And maybe a new song, because everybody else got their own music.
A rebranding of him.
That could come with a heel turn. With a heel turn could come new apparel, new music, a new look.
Did anybody see the tweet that he sent out today? Some douchebag tweeted at it. It was like, I hope you don't win, bro, because if you do, I'm going to break every single one of my fingers. And Roman Reigns was just like, well, it's going to fuck up your sex life, fool. Everyone's like, see, that's
a
heel
good
behavior.
He just plays better as a heel.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be a great, again, hardo. That's the operative word on this podcast. He'd be a great hardo heel.
Let the people boo him. People want to boo him.
Yeah.
He's not good enough on the mic. He can't. Not right now, anyways.
If you turned him heel, you could put a manager with him. You could put a heel manager with him who could cut promos.
Well, they were talking about that for a while. If they flipped, if they did a double turn with Brock and Roman and Paul Heyman leaving Brock and joining up with Roman. That's just one option. But
the only thing that would hurt, I think, for that is the luxury they have of having Heyman with Brock is that with Brock's limited appearances, you can still have somebody coming out and talking about Brock Lesnar, keeping him in the conversation as a Paul Heyman, whereas
So you're
Roman is a
saying
full-time guy.
Dutch Mantel should be his manager.
Dust off the scooter and that Mex America flag. Bring back the gimmick.
My God.
Bring it
The
back.
Roman Empire.
There were some other things that happened on this Raw. I will mention them very briefly. If you guys have anything you want to add, you can feel free. Ryback won a fucking match against Ninja Sin Cara. Ryback wants Kalisto's U.S. title. I see you're shrugging your shoulders over there, Ethan. What?
Kalisto accepted the challenge, so we have a Ryback versus Kalisto. How does Ryback deserve a one-on-one match at WrestleMania is beyond me.
He beat the crap out of the Social Idiots for a couple of weeks. Dropped 2 shell shots on Sin Cara. And then, demanded a match after. The Goldberg chants are intensifying, and I can only imagine they're going to be very loud down in Dallas. He can't win this match, right?
Think about it. The story is, the little guy never wins and the big guy triumphs. And that's Vince McMahon's MO, so.
Because I could see them wanting to get the Lucha Dragons back in the tag picture. But I would really rather that not come at the expense of giving us a Ryback singles champion run. When he had the Intercontinental belt, it just fucking ruined that belt for a little while.
The only way Ryback loses a match is if Goldberg himself comes out and spears him, I think.
God.
Gimmick infringement.
Gilbert.
And bring out Gilbert, too.
Yeah, I can hear Stephen LeClaire, who's down in Georgia right now. I can hear his wails as we trash talk his man Ryback. He's
that's great.
Very excited that his boy is going to be in not only a singles match at Mania, but wrestling for some gold there as well. We're setting up some sort of Divas tag team match for Mania with Team Bad and Lana looking like she's going to make her in-ring debut against the Team Total Divas, or what they're working towards. Just another match that they can have. They love those multi-diva matches, the tag matches at Mania, as we saw last year and as we've seen multiple years prior. The Usos against Bo Dallas and Adam Rose. Bo Dallas is now wearing a singlet. Poor sweet Bo Dallas and Adam Rose lose to the Usos, and we're getting Usos and the Dudleys at WrestleMania in a tag match.
I just wish Bubba would get a singles run one time. I think
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think that Vince knows? I mean, like, they never talk about TNA, but Vince has to know that Bubba had a big singles run there. Does he just want to keep himself as far away from TNA as possible, so he's not going to give him a singles run, so there are no comparisons to draw? Because it looks just, I mean, it doesn't matter who wins this match. Usos win, who cares? Dudleys win, who cares? There's nothing for either of them. They've both been around the tag team titles in the last year, and they both haven't won them.
The real question is, where is Spike Dudley?
That's the
I've been
question.
wondering too.
What was his finishing move?
The Dudley Dog?
Yeah, the Bulldog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he ran up the corner ring and came back over him.
Yeah, and he bulldogged him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Just an elaborate bulldog.
That man...
We need Joel Gertner
That man
back, for
lost.
God's sake.
Yeah.
And sign guy.
Oh, my God. The longer you play with it, the harder it gets.
I love going back on the network and watching old Joel Gertner promos.
Oh, my God.
They're
so greasy.
outrageous. Yeah, they are greasy.
What a greasy human.
And then we had Neville and Jericho. And in this, the ultimate story out of this match is that Neville clearly gets hurt in the match.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he, or did Jericho murder him?
I don't think Jericho murdered him. We know that
Jericho
Mitch is
did the right
anti-Jericho.
thing.
We have
He
a
did the
Jericho
right
as
thing.
an unsafe worker truther in the podcast today.
So Neville's hurt. He's out. They say 2 to 3 months. I can't imagine he's going to come back.
With no
shattered
surgery.
ankle
And shin bone, yeah.
shin.
So, yeah, they're saying he at least fractured, but at first they said he straight up broke his ankle and his shin. Now they're saying in 2 to 3 months with no surgery, he's back. I don't see how that's possible.
It could be like a huge, like the way it bent, I can see how it might not have snapped, but it could have definitely stressed. Put some stress on the bones. It definitely looked like it was some painful, but his ankle, he definitely rolled his ankle super bad.
Yes, in on itself.
It looked more like a dislocation at first, so maybe he's got that going for him.
I mean, we'll see.
That would stretch the ligament. I don't know.
You'll see when he gets back. I mean, the time frame will show you. It's either it's broken or it was just a hard sprain.
Especially for a high flyer like him, though. I mean, he can't come back until that's 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His moveset demands
do anything.
so much, jumping and
The landing,
and Jericho notices that he's hurt, and they quickly go to the finish, and Jericho gets DQ'd by shoving Charles Robinson, and you can if you watch the video, you can hear Jericho asking him if he's okay and asking Charles Robinson if he's hurt, and you could really tell that Jericho's legit concerned.
The non-3 count.
Yeah, Jericho rolls him up, and Neville did not kick out of this pinfall. Charles Robinson, in thinking that Neville is not hurt, says that he kicked out, and then Jericho goes right and just shoves him to get right to the finish. Neville joins a long list of injured WWE superstars, and we're going to take a quick break here on the Great American Cast, and when we come back, we're going to talk at length about this lengthy injury list. I'm looking at it right here, and it is just absolutely terrible. Before we go, though, a couple social media plugs. Facebook.com/GreatUSACast. We're at GreatUSACast on Twitter, and we're also GreatUSACast on YouTube, and you can find our episodes up on YouTube every week. And check out our Facebook and Twitter feeds as well. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back talking WWE injuries. The NXT TakeOver Dallas card has been finalized, and there's some more nonsense going on in TNA. We're talking about that when we come back. Back with you on the Great American Cast. Tanner Recibo, Gary Lannister, joined by just a slew of talent here this week. We got Mitch Abraham, our guest from episode 2, back sitting in with us. And we have the Brothers of Destruction, Tony Matz and Ethan Matz. And
Or you mean Matz?
yes, of course. We just left, talking about the Neville injury. Some news came out today, as we're recording this on Thursday, that Sting's career, a report came out from TMZ, Sting's career is over. His in-ring career, at least. And Gary and I were hanging out earlier when this news came out. The reason I want to talk about this, Gary, you have an extensive list of confirmed injuries, confirmed retirements now, and of some rumored injuries. Hit us with these names that are out of action for WWE right now.
All right, it's a lengthy list, so strap in. So the rumored injuries at this point are Big Show, I heard, dealing with a knee ailment of some kind, and then Bray Wyatt dealing with a fairly significant back injury. This is on top of John Cena, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Nikki Bella, Cesaro, Tyson Kidd, and Neville. And out of everyone I just named, Tyson Kidd's in-ring career could potentially be over. Seth Rollins, of course, blew out every last fiber in his knee in that house show in Ireland. Nikki Bella had spinal fusion. Cesaro blew out a rotator cuff. I think Cena blew out a rotator cuff. Randy Orton fucked up his shoulder taking out the garbage. And then, of course, Neville with the botched baseball slide and hurting his leg. So those are all the people who are expected to recover and make it back into the fold, at least by SummerSlam. That's the hope. And then, of course, on top of that, we have two people whose injuries forced them into early retirement. Early for Daniel Bryan, but then Sting's, I would say, it's earned, and it's unfortunate that he can't get one last match in there at WrestleMania, have that big WrestleMania moment. But he did get to wrestle at 1. He was at WrestleMania 31. It's just a shame to see it end this way. It didn't end on his terms. So it's a fairly extensive list, and you have to look at this and wonder, what can they be doing to better protect their talent? And one of the things we discussed earlier is they need to reevaluate the schedule and how much they're asking these people to work.
Yeah. You look at how much they work and the wear and tear on their bodies, and Gary and I were talking about, I'd love to get your guys' perspective, both, former, current athletes, whatever you'd like to call yourselves, but, You look at, I would say the most grueling professional sports seasons are either in the NFL or in the NHL because it's the highest impact. And the NHL, they scatter 81, 82 regular season games over the course of so many months, but they have, mandatory off days where the body is allowed to heal. And that's due in part to the NHL Players Association. Now, pro wrestlers aren't allowed to unionize under Vince McMahon. They're all independent contractors, so there's no precedent for any sort of mandatory off time. But you look at this list, and honestly, from a business standpoint, if you're only looking at this from a WWE business standpoint and you don't care about people, you are leaving a lot of money on the table with all of these names being unable to perform for you. So, even from just a pure monetary standpoint, obviously your top guy in your company is John Cena. Orton is definitely one of your top 5 guys. Rollins was your champion when he was hurt. Cesaro was reaching new heights before he went down. Nikki Bella was having a great run as the Divas champion. And Neville is just a great ring technician, just like Tyson Kidd. And Tyson Kidd's injury, a little bit more of a freak injury, and it sucks even more that it happened, in a dark match.
But that speaks to, as well as the wear and tear in their bodies, you can make mental mistakes just as easily when you're that tired. And I'm not trying to blame Samoa Joe, with whom the match occurred. By all accounts, a really safe worker and a great human being and a tremendous talent. But it's one of those things where you get run ragged. It takes a split second to be off your game or a split second to feel the pressure for something to go horribly wrong with 2 people who don't share a brain. So it's very, very dangerous. And to have them out on the road performing, it's every day, isn't it? They get a day off here and there.
Here and there.
They're lucky.
A couple days during the holidays. But, it's just ridiculous.
Part of it's a freak injury. I mean, you look at Seth Rollins' injury. I also tore my ACL last year, and it was, I just turned around. I was playing softball. I turned around and made a wrong step. And that's really what looked like happened with him. It wasn't a wrong step. His knee just went the wrong way.
Yeah, but when you're playing softball, you don't play the same team 10 times in one season. We did not need to have Seth Rollins, once again, at a house show against
Kane's
big
fault.
stupid Kane.
But
I don't need that match. You don't
I
even need
agree.
the
Was he wearing the mask or not?
and yet alone,
No, I don't think he was wearing the mask.
they
Well,
tried
that's
to
why.
pull off an insane move.
Yeah, but it's a move that he's done, a ton of times in his
But
career.
wasn't it with a variation? Wasn't
It was-
it that
it was a
move
sunset flip
into-
powerbomb.
Sunset
Powerbomb.
flip powerbomb, yeah.
into a pin? Yeah.
Sunset flip powerbomb, but that's a move that Seth, I'm sure, would tell you that he's done thousands of times before.
Well, it's just like the buckle bomb. That's what ended Sting's career. And
Yeah.
Seth Rollins isn't unsafe.
Yeah.
People like to say he is because of
But
the
he's-
knee and all
yeah.
that, but
But he's not, and Cena and Sting have both come out against that
But
notion.
this is what I'm talking about with the pressure, because everybody's told grab the brass ring, grab the brass ring. So you're working at 110% head full of steam. It makes sense that you might run your knee into someone's nose and break it. Or you get a little over enthusiastic. Let's put on a great match with this esteemed veteran that I've looked up to my entire career. It's the kind of stuff that, yeah, you're talented and you're safe, but these mental mistakes can creep in when you're under that kind of pressure. Because Vince McMahon, it'd be one thing if we see that you can grab the brass ring, but no one knows what the fuck it is.
Yeah, it's just a thing. It's
a look.
Yeah,
It's what you tell someone to.
Exactly.
It's
It's a
the
look.
carrot on the stick that you're never going to catch.
yeah. Look at Roman Reigns. They're still force feeding him down people's throats as the top baby face. I don't know, and I like Roman Reigns, but I don't know what Roman Reigns did to grab said brass ring, because he's being treated as if he grabbed the brass ring. So the brass ring notion is an unsafe thing because everybody's always on high alert, especially the younger talent, especially Neville, who kept going in his match on Monday night. I mean, look at that. The guy's ankle was broken. He knew that something was wrong, and he still kept going along with the match. These are pro wrestlers, and they don't... When you're working for WWE, there's no insurance there. I don't think they don't do pensions. There's nothing like that. There's no job security.
They will pay for their injured superstars and all their rehab. I'll give them credit for I don't even know if it's credit. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they should do. They make millions, if not billions of dollars a year, but you can't say they don't take care of their injured superstars.
But when
they get injured.
Yeah, but say they get injured and Vince sours on them or something like that, and then there's nowhere else for them to go, especially a guy like Neville, who's worked so hard and he's still relatively young. At this point in his career, if WWE cuts him for some reason, where where does he go from here?
It's like calling out sick to a 9-to-5 job. You don't want to miss time because someone else is going to slide in and take your spot. So they're probably pushing themselves when they should be resting, and it leads to greater injuries.
Exactly.
I always wondered what is a normal week on the road as a wrestler. Once a month you leave a pay-per-view Sunday, 11 midnight. You're on a bus or what?
Some of the big guys have buses. They have their own. Yeah. So like a Cena, or like I know Big Show has one just because I've seen it.
Because of logistics, it's just
he'll,
too big.
He'll tell you too.
And then you're scrambling 5 or 6 hours to the next city over for Monday night.
And then you're going to the gym. I mean, these guys are going to the gym every single day, hours a day. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
I'm just taking a look right now at what the house show events look like. So
it was cringe when people say it's fake. It's unbelievable. It is not.
I did hear recently that WWE is starting to rethink their whole idea on should we be having all these house shows and everybody should have more time off. We'll see if they follow through on that. We'll see.
There's a guy on Cage Side Seats, shout out to Bill Hanstock. He wrote a satirical piece about why he should be elected president of WWE. It was like a parody of the Trump campaign. But one of the really salient points that he made is he would introduce an off season. So reintroduce the brand split. You've got Raw running for a certain amount of time. You've got SmackDown running for a certain amount of time. Stagger that. Make it so that they both run during WrestleMania season and SummerSlam season. But then there is still an off period where they can recuperate. It's like Game of Thrones. If you had to watch 3 hours of Game of Thrones every week with no interruptions, you'd fucking hate it. It would just
too oversaturated.
Yeah.
Everyone would be overexposed. There'd be no mystery to any of the characters or any of the storylines.
That makes sense.
It'd make writing easier.
Go ahead.
It'd make writing a lot easier because you could know that from this time to this time I got to write for this character instead of going throughout a whole year. I mean, how the heck are you supposed to write for one person? You can't plan out a year. You just can't.
And they don't.
And
they honestly don't.
In a continual year at that. I mean, the year turns over and then you got to keep writing for the same guy.
You then bring more attention to SmackDown. Because then certain parts of the year you can only have those certain matches.
SmackDown becomes the must-see TV that they're trying to make it.
Exactly.
But it's not must-see TV when you got to sit through 3 hours of Raw on Monday night. I just don't. And I'm a fan, but I just don't have the drive to go back a couple days later and watch 2 more hours of stuff that's mostly rehashed. And yes, I know that the wrestling's better on SmackDown. The in-ring product is better, but
the commentary is better.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's great.
Amazing.
Mauro Ranallo.
He's transformed Lawler. I mean, he's back in his
to
glory.
The point where they're talking about maybe even a split team at WrestleMania. We might have Mauro and Lawler calling matches.
I love that.
Which would be great, and it would be great because we're so overexposed to fucking Michael Cole.
Oh my!
So give Michael Cole a break. I like Michael Cole. I don't know. It's so overproduced. I feel like SmackDown is a lot more hands off from Vince.
But this again speaks to the point. So in defense of Michael Cole, it's because when you got Vince in your cans, squawking at you the entire broadcast, what can you do? So he's feeding JBL all these corny lines. Oh, Maggle, I heard that, Sting is like a real scorpion. It's the stupidest fucking thing ever.
What did he say this Monday that really, I forget. He said something absolutely ridiculous that cracked us up. I don't know.
He referred to, during the beatdown angle with Roman Reigns and Triple H, he said, Roman Reigns being talked out of his rage by his nephew, the Usos.
Oh, that was it.
By his nephew, the Usos.
And he completely ignores Jack Swagger's pimp and chain wallet.
Yes,
that thing was fucking great.
Jamie Noble was in there too, it looked like, on the side. He wasn't mentioned. What's J&J Security doing?
Yeah, they should be beating up Roman Reigns. Yeah. I just want to go back to the fact that Jack Swagger wrestled at Roadblock.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him in seemingly months. And then there he is with his chain wallet, dressed, pretty cash back there with the jeans on. So obviously, out of all of these injuries, and there are a number of professional wrestlers that are deciding to donate their brain to science after they die. And Gary, I know you've got some stuff that you'd like to say about this. We're seeing a lot of professional athletes do this as well, a lot of professional football players. And now it looks like a wave of pro wrestlers are starting to make the same decision.
Yeah, forgive me because I feel terrible that I'm not going to get her name right, but there's a female soccer player.
I just recently heard
What's
of
that?
Was it Abby
Wambach?
Wambach?
No, a retired player. She was the one who took her jersey off.
Brandy Chastain?
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
Wambach also.
Wambach might be saying that she will give her brain. I don't know. I don't
want to speak wrong about it, so
I don't want to give the wrong person.
Yeah, Brandy Chastain's donating her brain for CTE research.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
there it is.
So Brandy Chastain. So I saw recently she's going to donate her brain. And at this point, I know the total is RVD, Kevin Nash, Mick Foley, and now Jeff Hardy have all agreed to donate their brains to science for CTE research. And that's crucial because there's still a lot you don't know about this condition. Because when I first heard about this, I'm like, well, I mean, what is there to study and to know? I think we realize you get hit in the head and it adversely affects your brain. And it's, shame on me because it's a lot more complicated than that. And I think the really interesting thing here is coming off of the Daniel Bryan retirement, WWE rode this huge wave of good publicity because it was them allegedly taking a stand and doing the right thing in the face of a horribly concussed athlete, admitting that his brain was not as healthy as he thought or hoped it would be. So they were receiving a lot of good press, and whether you think it was deserved or not, that's up to an individual interpretation. But now the question's going to become, with all of these wrestlers who are agreeing to do this, that in and of itself is almost they're admitting that they've had concussions, they've had traumatic head injuries, particularly Mick Foley. I mean, we talk about the segment on Raw where he handed over the bat, and I'm not trying to start rumors or anything like that, but it's just personally I noticed there's a fire in old Mick Foley promos that wasn't there. There were a couple times where you could kind of see him retreat into his own head and search very carefully for the next word. And I'm not trying to perpetuate this idea that he's on death's door or anything, particularly because the specter of Chris Benoit looms large. But I think it's really crucial that people like Mick Foley are going to participate in this research. However, in telling people publicly that they're going to do this, you got to wonder if it scares WWE at all, because it's these talent continuing to admit, yeah, I had traumatic head injuries under their watch.
Yeah. Some
Some of these people in WCW, ECW, the Indies, whatever, but Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell, high-profile concussion. He couldn't remember that entire match.
his I Quit match with The Rock at the Royal Rumble in 2099. Can't remember what year it was when The Rock handcuffed him and delivered 16, 18 unprotected chair shots to the head. I mean, that's... And it's so strange because, watching that as a kid and you're like, oh, wrestling's fake. That's not really... there's some shortcut to this. It's not really happening. But now, growing up and seeing the lasting effects that's had, and also, growing up through the Chris Benoit tragedy, and I think the Chris Benoit tragedy opened up a lot of pro wrestlers' eyes to, I don't want this to happen to me. I don't ever want to get to this stage. And, it's just very... it's sad to a point, and it's also... You almost go back to that brass ring talk where we were just having where... what if Mick Foley had said no to getting hit in the head with the chair at Rumble? How'd they book that match? How did that match get put together? These are the questions that are going to start coming up. Whose idea was it to have you get handcuffed and hit you over the head a bunch of times? Those are the questions that are going to end up coming out of this. Ultimately, who does the blame lie on? Who takes the blame here?
It's somewhat of a tangent, but along the same lines. And again, not casting aspersions on anyone or defaming anyone, but... that was a lot of the scuttlebutt after Owen Hart died. A lot of people were like, who's to blame for that? And a lot of people will tell you, oh, Vince Russo pressured him into it, or they offered him a lot of gimmicks that he wasn't crazy about, and he didn't want to lose his push, so he felt compelled to do this one thing even though it scared him. So you can't necessarily blame Vince McMahon or Vince Russo or anyone else, because, you know, it's like you said, at a certain point, you bear your own responsibility to say, this is going to hurt me psychologically, physically, and you have a responsibility to yourself and your family and the fans to not put everybody through that. But that's why I think it's so great that all of these athletes are stepping up and deciding to donate their brains to CTE research when they die. I think it's going to bring a lot of stuff to light. But also, a lot down the road, I have to wonder what the WWE response is going to be, because I read an article today that mentioned the difference between how the NFL is handling concussion lawsuits and how WWE is handling it. And NFL has gone out of its way to be shady and to cover these things up and downplay the importance of being tested and going through concussion protocol. And there are a lot of questions people have. But WWE, they more used to treat it like a non-issue. Now they're finally starting to see that they're a very publicity-minded company, and they were finally starting to see them acknowledge it a little bit. But I wonder if these results down the road, and I hope all these people live long and healthy lives, but down the road, whatever that reveals, you got to wonder what WWE's response is going to be.
Well, we've seen some response already, because they clearly have outlawed the chair shot to the head for a long time now.
Pile drivers.
I mean, they do make some response to try and keep the product safe for the wrestlers, but the question then becomes, how safe can they make it for the wrestlers while keeping the fans interested in it?
Right. Well, and again, it ties into the whole brass ring thing again. You want to impress the fans, you want to get over with fans, so to your point, how much can you take away before people think it's too PG? So it's a tough spot for everyone to be in.
And just, looking at some of the, ties to CT and pro wrestling, obviously, the Chris Benoit, the suicide and double murder was originally attributed to anabolic steroid abuse. Mm-hmm. So even at that time when that happened, people didn't really know why he did it, and they just attributed it to steroids. And then Chris Nowinski's organization that he co-founded, the Sports Legacy Institute, did a biopsy on his brain and discovered pathognomic CTE tissue change. Andrew Martin Test died at 33 from an accidental medicine overdose, CTE in his brain. Corey Graves, who's now an NXT color commentator, he announced his retirement from concussion concerns, and obviously Daniel Bryan, the most recent, to announce his retirement from this. This is a very real thing.
Wasn't the WWE, or back then it was the WWF, but the original Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon falling out was over the steroid trial?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to, they've always been pretty scrutinized. His character is kind of a shyster. He'd like to tell you he's a lot different in real life than his on-screen persona.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they've kind of been more proactive in protecting their people from brain injuries than NFL.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just my opinion. Banning certain moves, chair shots, pile drivers,
bleeding as a whole has been
blading, gimmicking.
And you watch older matches compared to today. In the 90s, it was more technical. You see more arm bars. The matches started slower. There's a lot more mat-to-mat wrestling. And I don't know, as a fan, I do enjoy that more. It's more, you have to beat your opponent down to get those high-flying moves. And today, when they're wrestling, it's straight into, who can jump off the top rope quickest. And I think, as fans, you kind of do gotta, maybe not the blame, but the pressure from the fans and then the internet boards, you really gotta make an impression and risk yourself.
Yeah, it's true. And Daniel Bryan said he had a ton of undocumented concussions before he even got to WWE. So that's another thing is what are these guys' histories before they get to WWE?
Seems
And-
like Daniel definitely did most of his damage in independent.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
because he
regional
wasn't
wrestling
trained well and
factions.
things like that. So there's, I mean, we're talking a lot about WWE because we're kind of a WWE centric podcast, but this needs to trickle down through the indies and through everything, and you know, this might be a gross exaggeration, but it could almost be that WWE is being chastised for damage that was done before wrestlers even got to their company.
That's true. Yeah.
And there's got to be some onus on the independent promoters I don't know how the pro wrestling business works at that level anymore. There aren't territories anymore, so but the independent promoters to have some testing, have adequate medical staff on hand.
Well, and that's the sticky thing is that, as you're saying, a lot of the damage can happen before or after a WWE run, but the fact of the matter is it's going to come back on WWE because they're the biggest game in town.
Exactly.
So, if you receive 12 concussions in, Vermont wrestling, and then you get signed by WWE and you get one, people are just going to act like you got all 13 with them, and the blame's going to rest largely with WWE, and that's not fair. But what's more important than placing blame is making sure that these people don't hurt themselves further and that we learn how to protect these athletes.
I think the whole Daniel Bryan situation, though, is everybody acted like WWE was holding them back. They didn't, for whatever reason, which I thought so too. I didn't know because there was all these reports that he was going to doctors and he was cleared. This doctor cleared him, that one cleared him, and there's one report a NFL doctor had cleared him, and WWE's doctors just said no. And finally, we find out that it was the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and and selfishly as a fan during that whole ordeal, do you want to see Daniel Bryan wrestle again? Yes, he was my favorite wrestler, but also the guy's gonna have a life outside of wrestling. You can't be that selfish as a fan and say this guy needs to be back. It's this guy, they need to make sure that this guy can go again if he's going to go again. And you got to tip the cap to WWE because even he eventually, came around. And then now that, and as you mentioned, an NFL doctor did check him out and say that he was good. Now turn that back toward the NFL. This NFL doctor cleared him. Ultimately, he shouldn't have been cleared. How much of that's going on in the NFL these days? So we're only going to learn more as time goes on, as more pro wrestlers decide to donate their brain, and more pro football players as well.
That's where potentially I think promotions or shows such as NXT, I think WWE can use like a minor league sort of trickle effect to get to the big show. They can monitor it better instead of you're at this independent regional, Ohio Valley Wrestling. If they some sort of minor league or developmental program that can monitor it better, you might be able to cut down on certain brain injuries.
That's a great point. You can keep them under their umbrella.
Yeah.
And they're seeing WWE doctors.
And if you ever watch
Breaking Ground,
that's whenever they're training, that's the first thing the trainers are barking about is tuck your head, goddammit. So it is addressed. It's addressed pretty forcefully. So to your point, I think it's one of the great things that this developmental branch has done. Is it's kind of made a smarter athlete.
And it's kept the performers safer.
Yeah, having NXT being like a AAA team, that's great. Farming people, raising them, training them. And
I don't know if they're farming people.
Water the talent.
Thrown in a baseball,
They can do a lot in Florida.
Your
But I don't know if they're
farm
farming
team, you're raising up the talent.
Yeah.
But no, but
Did I make you lose your thoughts?
It's hard for me to say NXT is the minor and they're developing these people because, a lot of their roster are big-time wrestlers from other organizations.
But there are a lot of guys that are...
The guys that have broke through seem to be developed by WWE for whatever reason that might be.
I think I don't know the number of talent they have that doesn't appear on an NXT program, but they're, they're constantly, as more guys are getting called up to the main roster, they're trying to create their own stars coming in, kind of similar to what WCW did with the Power Plant, which is back.
I was saying it's good to have the NXT because what was the name of the other show where the guy That was like one of the last 4 contestants. Then you get the chance.
Tough enough?
Yes, thank you. What a heap of crap. What a terrible show. One of the wrestlers on there was on Swamp People. Come on!
No.
Yes! Like,
It's easy, right?
what a
If you
camera.
can wrestle
That
a
dude
gator,
is
you
a
can wrestle a
camera,
person, I guess.
camera whore. Just wants to be on film.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
At least on NXT, you have people that are legit serious about about it being their job and not just being in my mind, my job is to get on camera. Like Swamp People dude. I don't know his name, but terrible.
And we're talking a lot about NXT. They did just finalize the on air, the portion that will air live from NXT Takeover Dallas. So let's talk about that. Kind of a natural segue. Gary and myself were fortunate enough to be at NXT Takeover Brooklyn, and that was a memory that really we'll never forget. And that was a great card.
Yeah.
But this card is absolute fucking dynamite, and they've really outdone themselves this time. Last night's NXT episode that aired really put a bow on all the other matches, so we'll go right down through them here. Austin Aries, his first match in NXT, is going to be against Baron Corbin in a match they've done a great job to build. Very, a limited build, but they've got the job done. Aries shows up. Corbin mauls him from behind because he wanted another title shot, and so he's going after Regal and saying, "You're going to screw me, I'm going to screw you and take out your new talent." So they're going. Sami Zayn, it was finally officially announced he's going to be taking on Shinsuke Nakamura.
I'm excited to see that. I don't. I've heard a lot about Shinsuke Nakamura. I've never seen him wrestle. I'm excited to watch that. I know Zayn's a pretty good performer. That'll be a good match.
That's going to be a match where two guys trying to get the best out of each other.
Yep.
That's really going to be, especially for Shinsuke Nakamura, because that's the first time, not only is he going to be wrestling in NXT, but it's the first time he's going to be on WWE television. They aired a little video of him challenging Sami Zayn or saying he's going to face Sami Zayn on NXT's taping last night. It was just a video on the screen, a cell phone video. Very simple stuff. He maybe said 10 words. So yeah, it's going to be his first real taste of the NXT crowd and the NXT scene. And that's going to be really cool. Then we start getting into the matches that are going to be for some gold here. American Alpha takes on the Revival. We're going to talk about merch a little bit later on after our next break. But my God, can we get some American Alpha merch? I was brainstorming some ideas earlier with their color scheme. You can have a black shirt with their color scheme from their jumpers that says Ready, Willing, Gable on the front, American Alpha on the back, or vice versa. And we need the goddamn towel. I will buy 5 of them. I am not kidding. I'll buy 5. I'll put it on my golf bag. Ready, Willing, Gable. I am ready, willing, and Gable to buy a fucking Ready, Willing, Gable towel. Put it together. You have a fake Money in the Bank briefcase, for fuck's sake.
We never got the fucking
and it's
Rusev
$75.
flag. We never got the Rusev flag.
Yeah, never got the Rusev flag.
I would have bought 8 of those.
Thanks, WWE Shop. But again, you can buy a fucking Money in the Bank briefcase for $75, and then you can chuck it at Roman Reigns in the ring at a house show.
You can buy a baseball cap with Nikki Bella's ponytail hair coming out of the bag.
Yeah, they might have sold out of those. Those were in the clearance section
done.
for a long time.
You can buy a fucking headband with a... I'll just call it a unicorn horn. I mean, everybody else knows what else it looks like more, but I'll leave it at that.
Going to SmackDown on Tuesday. Going to SmackDown on Tuesday. My girlfriend is wearing a New Day unicorn horn that she purchased, as well as a New Day shirt.
The cranial strap-on.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you don't have to put that on later at night.
I think we're going to be on the hard camera side, too, so look out for that.
The last time I saw one of those was a man making rhino noises on his knees at a frat party's mystery night. It was a mystery stripper show. Things got nasty.
Anyway, so American Alpha against the Revival for the tag titles. Would love to see Jason Jordan and Chad Gable pick up their first gold. I think this is the time to do it. This is going to be a huge show. You're going to have huge viewership. And I think the Revival are great in the ring, but I think these guys could feud for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
If they're going to turn New Day face, they need a tag team to go against them, so maybe the Revival.
They're so fun to watch in the ring, and the Shatter Machine is a fantastic tandem finisher.
It is.
It looks so cool.
At the same time, they're also Port Authority, Enzo and Cass are going to be moving
they
up
coming
probably
up, yeah.
after. A lot of rumors they're going to be coming up after WrestleMania. I mean,
They don't have a
Maybe.
match on this Dallas card.
Yeah, that's true.
I got to believe they're coming up
Yeah.
after WrestleMania. There's nothing left for them at NXT.
So now you kind of, let's look ahead here. I don't think, with New Day as tweener baby faces, I don't think you can have Enzo and Big Cass come up and challenge them.
Not against them.
So you have to, are the League of Nations going to take the belts off them, or are the different tag team going to come in? If you had New Day as heels still, those would have been some great promo battles.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Those would have been great. Maybe they bring the New Day back heel after WrestleMania. I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't. They'll flip-flop them all over the goddamn
Turn
place.
New Day into the Big Show and give them a different heel turn every month.
Yeah.
Asuka versus Bayley for the Women's Championship.
That would be
That's
a
going to
great
be
match.
awesome. Yeah. That's going to be an outstanding match. They're going to give it time. I don't see that match going any less than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That match is going to have time. They're going to tell a story. It's two great in-ring workers, and it's two contrasting styles, which is going to be very fun to watch. Because Asuka versus Emma at TakeOver London was a fantastic match, and that was the opener.
I don't want to keep saying they're going to bring everyone up, but I could see another scenario where Bayley loses to Asuka and comes up and feuds with whoever wins that triple threat match at WrestleMania.
If it's Sasha,
because,
you have your natural progression right there.
Even so, like, who else are they going to feud with? We just saw the triple threat match between the three top women wrestlers right now. I mean, you could throw Paige in if you wanted to give Bayley more time. I don't know what. Paige hasn't been doing anything.
Yeah, she's a main event. She was on main event this week. And then Finn Balor and Samoa Joe for the third time for the belt.
I think so, yeah.
As Joe beat Sami Zayn in the 2 out of 3 falls match 2 weeks ago on NXT. Or last week, sorry, not 2 weeks ago. And these two know how to put on a match. These are two of the best guys in the business. I mean, you got a couple options here. You have Samoa Joe takes the strap off of Balor. Finn comes up and the Bullet Club kind of forms on the main roster. Maybe Triple H brings up the Bullet Club and they're all heels after Shane McMahon takes power on the main roster and Triple H assembles a team of NXT guys, maybe. Or Finn Balor retains and Joe comes up to the main roster. You got an option both ways here.
Yeah, a lot of rumors both ways. The Bullet Club, they're two tag team wrestlers. We're going to go straight to WWE, not even NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they do bring Balor up.
And if you bring Balor and both of them up, and you could put AJ Styles with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be faces, though, unless you want to quickly have Styles win against Jericho at Mania, and then he turns heel the next night.
The other thing is, if they put the title on Samoa Joe, you would have to assume that they've got a baby face that they're building to eventually take it off of him, but who's waiting in the wings?
It looked to be Apollo Crews for a while, but he's slipped way down. I could see Aries.
Yeah, that's true.
I could see Aries beating Corbin, and then some sort of number one contendership. Not a battle royal, maybe like a mini tournament or maybe something like that they like to do down in NXT.
You've got no idea what they're going to do with Nakamura.
That's true as well. I feel like Nakamura has to go over Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel like that has to happen. It sucks. I
think
love
so,
Sami
because
Zayn.
that's probably Zayn's hopefully his last NXT match.
Yep.
And he's a main roster guy here, and he puts over Shinsuke before he goes up and hopefully feuds with Owens. I think that'd be a great feud.
And we know that there's that rumor that's going to be a multi-man match at Mania, and that Neville was going to be involved.
Yeah.
But now with Neville out of the picture, do they scrap that plan and make it just a singles match?
It could be a quick match though, because if they're gonna have Zayn in a big match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title the night before, I mean,
I think is it 2 nights before?
Yeah,
I think it's Friday night.
Takeover's Friday. Yep.
So they'll have a day.
Yeah, it'd still be hard to put on a 20, 25, 30-minute classic match.
Oh yeah,
and
I think
go out and have a ladder match 2 days later. It'd be tough.
If they do the multi.
Which I secretly hope it's a 2-man ladder match. I don't know. I'm a huge mark for that match from WrestleMania 10 with Razor and HBK.
There's no reason every ladder match has to have more than 2 people.
Yeah.
You can have a ladder match with 2 people.
I think Dean and Seth had a fantastic ladder match last year at Money in the Bank.
Oh,
It was a really, really fun match to watch. That was great. The highs and lows of that match. That whole feud. Oh, God,
I liked
waxing poetic.
the Balor KO ladder match.
Yeah.
They didn't reinvent the wheel, but I really liked it. And there was stuff we saw live that didn't necessarily make the broadcast. A lot of great like little healing flourishes from Owens.
Yeah, Owens kind of acknowledging the crowd in different ways and making us pop all over for his great heel work that he has there. And another 3-letter wrestling company, TNA this week. I don't watch TNA. Do any of you guys watch? Does anybody watch TNA?
I do not.
Is anybody?
Every now
out
and then
there?
I'll turn it on, just if there's literally nothing else on.
The story they've been telling over the last few months is that, EC3 was the heel champion, and he had kind of the authority around him. Tyrus, Brodus Clay from WWE, Tyrus. And then Tyrus betrayed him, and Matt Hardy turned heel and took the belt off EC3. EC3 and Matt Hardy had a lethal lockdown, or just a lockdown match. Sorry, lethal lockdown is the terrible one where the roof comes down and has the weapons on the top. They had a...
Like Mario.
My favorite, most ridiculous TNA match is when they had like the 8-sided ring and they had the I don't know what the hell you want to call it. It was like a ladder match, but it was.
Oh, and it had the strings over
it had
the
the
top.
string,
Yeah,
like a ropes on top.
X Extreme.
Oh,
X.
yeah.
Yeah, and it had the belt was there, and you had to like shimmy.
Yeah, what an absurd! You had to like monkey crawl across just to get the friggin' title and.
Part wrestling match, part physical challenge from Double Dare.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you don't get slimed. The losers all get slimed.
So EC3 and Matt Hardy had another title match this week. Jeff Hardy's added earlier in the show to make it a triple threat match. Bunch of run-ins happen. What I'm reading here, again, I didn't watch the show, people. I'm sorry. I don't watch TNA. Did Matt win the match?
I thought Jeff Hardy had knee surgery and was out for a while. Personally, that's the last thing I heard about him.
So Matt's in the ring alone, whatever, TNA. And then Drew Galloway comes out with his Feast or Fire briefcase.
Yeah. The equivalent of Money in the Bank, only much worse scenario.
And he cashes in.
It's too bad that wasn't the way when John Cena lost his match and he didn't get fired.
Yeah.
So Drew Galloway is another TNA champion. He's the babyface. There are rumors are he might be facing Bobby Lashley, who recently turned heel. Also, I got a screen cap here. Of the Pop TV overlay. You got the Pop TV logo, not quite in the bottom right-hand corner, but in the bottom, almost toward the middle. And they're talking about the premiere of Schitt's Creek tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Isn't that what TNA is supposed to be called?
Schitt's Creek spelled SCHITT.
That's the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah. TNA Schitt's Creek
without a paddle.
Yeah. So
is Drew guy? That's not the.
Yeah.
That's the guy in the 3-man band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heath Slater should ask out of his contract immediately and go to TNA, I guess.
Heath Slater's committed to the social
Yeah.
outcast.
Who's gonna lead the Outcast?
Yeah,
The social
someone
idiots.
has to.
4 things. 1 chain.
We're off the chain, man. Jesus Christ. We were talking about that earlier too. We were like, man, you could send some people back to NXT for rehab and it's perfect. Zack Ryder, Emma, the most high-profile one being Tyson Kidd, and then Curtis Axel goes to NXT and somehow gets worse.
Yeah, go worse. Just
There's something to be said for being completely
Curtis
hopeless.
Axel is the one with the terrible, terrible spray tan, correct?
Yeah, he
Only
got that
on the
fixed.
front.
Yeah, he got that fixed though.
God.
Yeah,
He pulled
just
the
on
Ross.
front. He's also the only man to lose his spot in the Royal Rumble by being attacked from behind
By a vintner, no
by a
less.
vintner. Yeah,
They love
man.
to change the rules on Royal Rumble as
Yeah.
if you've never seen. I've seen Royal Rumbles before where somebody got eliminated by someone that wasn't in the match. And they're like, no, that guy's not in the match, so he's still in.
That happened this year, didn't it?
No.
It happened to Lesnar, but they said he was out.
But yeah, they let
Like 5 years before, they said, no, he's not in the match, so he can come. He got eliminated by somebody that wasn't in the match, so he can come back in and wrestle still. That's WWE logic.
They're so fucking inconsistent.
Fans don't remember any of the rules ever.
We're going to take another quick break here on the Great American Cast, our final break of the show. When we come back, we're going to play a new game with our guest this week. It's called Would You Wear It? we're going to be taking a look at some of the hot new fashion on the brand new redesigned WWE shop. I'm not going to say the web address because I'm not going to give them a free plug.
Nope.
But it's the WWE shop. We're going to look at it and, watch out, folks, because some of this stuff is utter garbage. We're back with you in a flash on the Great American Cast.
It's mellow, but not smooth. Kinda shitty.
Jimmy Buffett.
We're back here on the Great American Cast, final segment of this week's show. Tanner Arcebo, Gary Lannister here with our guests this week, Mitchell Stinky Pants Abraham, and Ethan and Tony Matz. Now we're going to play a new game here on the podcast. It is called Would You Wear It? And right now, here in our illustrious studio, we have a series of new WWE merchandise. And this is all under the new tees tab on the redesigned WWE shop website. And right off the top, guys, we're seeing a lot of new Shane McMahon merchandise that just came out today. Let's pick one T-shirt. How about this one here? It's a black T-shirt. It's got the number 32 on the front with the $ lines through it. On the back, it says "In Shane We Trust." We'll start with you, Tony. Tony, would you wear this shirt? It's $17. It's on sale right now.
The way it comes packaged, I don't think I would. Can I rip the sleeves off?
I mean, you can. I don't know if WWE allows fans to modify their product.
If I can rip the sleeves off, I would be glad to wear it.
So that's like a half yes?
Yeah.
What do you think, Ethan?
If it was number 23 instead of 32, that doesn't make any sense to me.
WrestleMania 32.
That makes more sense. But I would still rather the 23 as a Michael Jordan fan. So no, I would not wear that.
How about you, Mitch?
Mitch will wear anything.
That is not true. No, I don't think I would. I wouldn't spend my money on it.
Do you know what I think this reminds me of?
What?
That's something that, like, a high school football team booster club would buy for, like, their starting quarterback. Some rich asshole, like the dad, would be like, "Got you something to motivate you for the game, son."
And the kid's name would have to be Shane.
Shane, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, if it said "In Shane We Trust" with him falling off the jumbotron, I'd probably wear it.
It needs a little more. A little bit.
We also have the new Bootios cereal box. You can buy the box, and it comes with the shirt and a cardboard mask you can cut out. But we'll just say the what?
What is
I think
on
it's
the
a
mask?
unicorn head.
It's called a booty corn. Seriously. Booty corn mask is included, is what it says.
Cornflakes.
Yeah, we got, there it is. There's
no.
the booty corn.
Wow.
Get a pair of sunglasses with it as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the sunglasses are for.
I don't think you can see through cardboard sunglasses.
I'm not a brony or whatever the My Little Pony fans are, so I'm gonna say no.
It's gonna cut out unicorn too, but we'll take the box out of it because they sell the shirt for $25, so you can pay 10 extra bucks for the card.
For a box.
Yeah. What about the Bootios shirt? They're eating the Bootios. Really not a fan of how the cereal is. Grain cereal's brown.
Yeah, I don't. Why is Big E the only one eating?
Yeah. Well, they're trying to get around him there.
Biggie's not sharing his food.
And that's certainly not. I'm not trying to, make any sort of racist remark or anything, but they are little brown O's. It looks just like a beehole.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I see a rainbow from like a Lucky Charm or something.
Yeah, there's a rainbow. There's tag belts.
There's penetration going on there.
That's true.
Yeah, the unicorn horn is penetrating the O in Bootios.
It's penetrating the booty.
It
though.
is. Wow.
Tony, would you wear this shirt that it's basically telling you to eat butts and have sex with things with a unicorn horn?
No.
Ethan?
I would not.
Mitch?
It's a big no.
All right. So far,
Booty knows.
Mitch's been saving that one. One more piece of Shane O'Mac merchandise, just because I saw this earlier and it really, really irritated me. The classic Shane O'Mac baseball jersey. Shane O'Mac, and then there's an underline, and it says WrestleMania in white in the underline. It's got the WrestleMania logo on the left sleeve. And then on the back, it says the money, and it's got that goddamn 32 with the dollar sign lines through it again.
It looks like RC car tracks. I don't think of money.
That's true.
Train
I
tracks.
think of like Death Curve fucking playset.
You gonna take that corner too fast and let your magnetic traction win
Launch it
the
right
set.
off, hit the cat, piss your mom off.
Loop-de-loop.
Tony, you wearing this shirt? This jersey?
Nope.
It's $50 too.
And that's also a strike too.
If it didn't have the numbers on it, then yeah.
Yeah, I would side with Ethan if it was just the traditional Shane O'Mac.
Customizable, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. They could even charge more money if they made it customizable on the back.
Charge $60.
Mitch, what do you think?
Never owned a baseball jersey, nor will I buy one that's made for wrestling.
All right, so I think we know what Mitch's answer is there.
I would wear it to a murder, so I didn't get any blood on my nice clothes.
All right, I
And then
changed
people
my
might
answer
think it's-
to a yes now.
Oh,
Because if we're
God.
getting into the murder situation,
No.
That's my bad. That's on me.
It's short sleeve too. It still get on your forearms.
I'm not too worried
wash
about
that
that.
off.
Okay.
If you did murder someone in it, they would think your name is Shane, though. So
That's
They'd be looking for a Shane O'Mac.
Someone wearing a Shane O'Mac jersey.
For
Gotta
Shane.
be named Shane.
Do we have a motive? Well, the back of his shirt said the money.
And it said 32 with the
$32.
dollar sign mark.
He killed my whole family over $32.
He left the shirt too, that bastard.
You
He
can't
really-
say he's not doing it for the
he
passion.
just did it for the principle.
Ethan, I know you're not a huge fan of her, but Charlotte has a new shirt. It says Charlotte, Second Nature Flair. On the
No.
back. On the back, it's an homage to her face glitter that she's now wearing. On
What
the
is
main
up with
roster
that? Why
the
did she do that?
I don't know.
How does that not rub off in the middle of the I don't really understand it.
Tony, what do you think about this shirt? It's blue.
I'm gonna go with no, but I would say it's the best looking shirt yet.
All right,
But a strong no.
Mitch.
This shirt, I mean, it's terrible. I don't trust anything with 2X
It's like the no
chromosomes.
fear eyes on the back, like back in the.
Mitch doesn't trust anything. With
Oh,
2X
yeah.
chromosomes.
That's correct, even. I believe in science, and I'm just kidding. It's terrible.
So it's
That's a no. The shirt's terrible.
Wow.
Okay, we've got one here. Naomi has her own shirt now, because she does. It says "Feel the glow" in some neon on the front, and then it's got the shoe there on the
Shoot,
back.
They're kicking it old school on the back there.
Well, those are the shoes that she wears, light up shoes. But her name Naomi is in the bottom part of the shoe, if you notice there. Tony, what are your thoughts on this shirt?
That's a strong no too.
Ethan,
No.
Mitch, I could see you liking this shirt.
I'd like it, but what's the glow? I don't. It's got her shoes correct.
Mitch loves feeling the.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what.
Yeah, it's her shoes glow in the dark. They light up. Were you asleep during this too? I mean, she's been wearing
know.
these same shoes for.
Probably.
One was
She's been wearing these
green,
shoes
one
for
was
months.
purple.
Yeah.
See, I would.
I'm gonna have to say no because glow shoes are for 8-year-olds. So.
All right.
Well, I disagree, but
Yeah.
you know, I would wear that shirt. I would purchase that shirt if it came with some free MDMA.
All right. Is it black light glow or is it your foot just hit the ground light up shoes?
They're those, but they change colors. They're not like the LA Gears or whatever those they used to be when we were younger. They just constantly glow and they change color over time, much like the New Day's dick on the head. It's a very similar gimmick.
Well, I think
Changes
we established
color
Mitch will not wear the
penetration.
shirt. He'll wear the shoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Are they selling the shoes?
No, they're
No.
not.
They're.
Oh, shoes.
We're gonna keep going here. All right, we've got a Roman Reigns shirt. It says, spare no one, spear everyone. And it's got his fist.
That seems real heelish.
And in the back it says, believe that, with his spider logo thing. I have some thoughts on this shirt, but I'll wait. Tony, what do you think about this shirt here?
I'd wear it. I'd rip the sleeves off right away, but I'd wear it.
So again, this one's contingent on the sleeves. Matz, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, what was the slogan?
Spare no one, spear everyone.
Wasn't that Goldberg's saying? Is it they just rip off a Goldberg T-shirt?
I think Goldberg's was who's next, and then he
also
finally punched
speared
himself.
everyone.
He did spear everyone.
I wouldn't wear it.
Also, we didn't do a Russo roulette this week. We took this week off, but Gary and I did watch a Goldberg and Sid Vicious match from Halloween Havoc 1999, where Sid bled all over the place. And I promise this is going somewhere. Goldberg always walked out with the security detail and the police, right? That was his whole gimmick. He gets attacked from behind on the entrance ramp by Scott Hall and Kevin Nash before the match, and the police officers just stand and watch it happen.
Well, usually I think on the old Goldberg stuff, when you watch him, as soon as he goes through the entrance ramp.
Oh, but they're there.
Nobody is there.
They're there in the he's 10 feet away from the ring, and there are state police there. Doug Dillinger, WCW head of security, is there.
Wrestlers are just stronger than police.
Yeah, that's true.
Chances are Big Boss Man was one of the wrestlers and told everybody just to not even get involved. They left their nightsticks at home.
Mitch, what do you think about this Roman Reigns shirt?
I'd wear it. Wear it. This would give me non-stop excuses to just walk around and pretend Superman punch everyone. Just cock that fist and just boom.
No, but it's
for spearing.
Spears.
But
Right,
it's
there
for
is-
spearing. But I'm not
is
going to
that
go
a-
around.
what
It is a
Is that a
fist.
spearing
Yeah, it's a
people.
stylized fist. It looks like two pianos on top of each other.
It was like Darth Vader.
Yeah, it must be his like wrist thingy he wears.
It's like a semi-kamehameha.
Jesus.
It's him when he punches the mat, I think. I don't know what the circle is around it. Yeah, I think this shirt is absolutely terrible. I think this is an awful shirt. I wouldn't wear it if it was free. I think this is garbage. Also, it doesn't say Roman Reigns anywhere. It just says Roman Empire.
There's also the women's version.
Well, yeah, I think it's the same. Yeah,
Same logo.
same logo, different cut. Moving on down the line here. Here we got a good one here.
Oh my
This
god.
is a throwback, and it says Brutus the Barber Beefcake cuts my hair, and it has his shears that he used to carry there.
Those are not barber scissors.
Good point.
You would not. Those look like hedge clippers.
I think that's the gimmick, Mitch. Tony, would you wear this shirt?
I'm a mile
Yes.
behind.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
If I could cut the sleeves off
But you gotta use the shears.
and put an arrow. Yeah, use the shears to cut the sleeves off and then put an arrow pointing down to my pubes. Then I would wear it.
You know what? What the hell?
Unanimous.
Yeah, that's a unanimous yes. And
That's a buy.
that's a buy. We're not gonna buy it right now. We got all these American themed shirts, with the wrestlers' logos and like kind of the American flag over them. I got pages with a British kind of feel for it. Would anybody wear the Seth Rollins American flag shirt on days other than 4th of July?
Why the hell not?
Maybe Memorial Day.
Tony?
Oh, I'd wear that for
Yeah.
sure. That's my favorite one yet.
It's very American.
Sleeves off, of course.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go ahead and give Tony what he's looking for here. We're gonna look at some muscle
No,
tees and tank
you-
tops.
Yeah.
He doesn't like.
You know what?
He doesn't
You
like.
know what Tony's looking for?
He's looking to rip
It's
the
his
sleeves
old-
off himself.
Oh, super cards.
Oh, okay.
Kind
No,
of like
what-
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Tell him the story about how you ripped off the Hulk Hogan thing one time.
Oh, I remember back in the day. It was WWF Shaw back in this day.
Yes.
Early 90s. I talked my parents into buying me the Hulk Hogan shirt. It said, "You get this, you can't rip it." I said, "Okay." $20 later, first thing I do is put that shirt on, and I mean, I'm ripping.
Oh my!
But it was made out of the same stuff a plastic bag. It was begging to be ripped.
Was it like? Did you have to do a little? Did you cut the little snip there so you could have?
I wasn't a very big child. I could rip that thing. I could have done 2 or 3.
Was this rip done in front of said parents?
As soon as I put it on, I didn't care.
We've got one last piece of merch to review here, and I will say that keep in mind the only version they have left is a 2XL, so we have to put that on the table. It's a Dolph Ziggler tank top. I would call it maybe a shade under Robin Egg Blue. It says, "The show off, Dolph Ziggler, it's too bad I'm too good." I got an 80s feel from this shirt here.
Yeah.
Is this something you could see yourself pumping some iron in there, Tony?
I wouldn't wear that.
No.
Robin Egg Blue's my favorite color, bitch. It's a quote from a MTV movie Together.
I've never seen
But no, I would not wear that.
Is
Probably.
that the one about the boy band?
It is classic.
I gotta go with no, because you look like you should be selling oranges on the freeway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nick Swartz and Reno 911.
Oh my god, I was thinking the same thing.
I fell
Terry.
oranges. I placed them on the lap.
Terry, what are you doing with those oranges?
So there goes our first round of Would You Wear It? And shockingly, we wouldn't wear a ton of shit that's in the WWE shop. And yet I spend way too much money buying t-shirts from this company. Before we go here, we're going to ask Tony, when you were younger, you were really into the WWE card game, correct? What was that game called?
That was called With Authority. And it's best to not bring that up around me. Because I was quite an addict. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Let's leave it at that. Are you aware there's a new game, a mobile game that involves cards? It's called WWE Super Cards.
I haven't heard of that.
I think it's free.
Why don't you just stick the needle in his arm, man?
It's free,
It's
I
free
believe,
except for
until
the
you decide
microtransactions.
to buy cards
That was
on your device.
no, that was basically With Authority. You could.
Yes, but I think this game starts off, you get a certain pack free. And
Yeah, it's
then
With
from there
Authority.
you have to expand. Yeah, so
Basically,
we're now brought a junkie back to his spot.
As with most free-to-play games, they give you the option to spend money.
I was ranked 500 in the world, I think, if I remember correctly, when it finally shut down, and I almost won the European title.
The most prestigious of crowns, held by the likes of Shane McMahon and
D'Lo Brown.
D'Lo Brown.
D'Lo Brown.
Well, that's another exciting episode of the Great American Cast. Before we go, as is tradition on the show, we like to ask our guests if they have any social media they'd like to plug, any Twitter accounts, Instagram, anything like that from you guys.
Not tonight.
All right, Ethan.
I don't have anything.
All right. Mitch is at Burrito Package on Twitter. So again, go get there, give him some follows, toss some likes. He's not very active on there.
Not at all. My last post was November 15th. I'm hot fire on the Twitter. It's now Paul Mitchell. At Burrito Package.
Yeah, so at Burrito Package is still the same.
It's still the same.
Yeah, that's what I just said. All right. While we're talking,
If you see my picture, I am indeed holding 2 bottles of Mangria. Alright? Go ahead and plug Corolla.
Yeah, Corolla, if you want to keep
Yeah,
this
Corolla.
pirate ship afloat and you want to sponsor us, or Mangria wants to sponsor us, we
Also-
are listening.
Also,
We like to drink, so send it
We'd
over.
love to drink.
if I could get some secretly shipped bottles up here, because I'm tired of driving to Massachusetts or Connecticut to get Mangria. It's absurd.
All right. We talked about murder. Now we're talking about illegally shipping liquor across state lines. It's time for us to go. Gary, any last thoughts here before we end this thing? Hopefully, with
Yeah, I want you to give
Mitch.
them our pertinence before we go.
Facebook.com/GreatUSACast. We're at GreatUSACast on Twitter. We're also GreatUSACast on YouTube. And if you email GreatUSACast@gmail.com and request an MP3 version of this very podcast, we have the capability to send you this episode or any of the previous episodes. So you can put it right in your iTunes and listen to it there without having to be connected to the internet. Again, that's GreatUSACast@gmail.com. Facebook.com/GreatUSACast, at GreatUSACast on Twitter, and GreatUSACast on YouTube. Thank all of our guests for coming out this week on a St. Patrick's Day recording edition of the program.
I'm wearing green.
Maybe.
It's green.
If you're colorblind.
It's green.
It's very clearly green. This shirt is.
All right, well, we're going to keep talking on if that's green or not, and if anybody's going to pick up that XXL Dolph Ziggler tank top. Here's the Great USA Cast. As always, we'll let the talking heads bring you home.